A warm welcome everyone. I am Anarga from 3rd year Biomedical Engineering from Sahadya College of Engineering and Technology, Thrissur. Today, we are joined by Ms. Reshma Pedi, who is currently working as an assistant professor at Sengundha College of Engineering, Tiruchengodu, to educate us on a much important biomedical equipment, the defibrillator. So, here we go.
A warm welcome to one and all to the introductory session on defibrillators coordinated by Group 3 of Biomed 360 campaign. Biomed 360 is a campaign jointly initiated by IEEE MBS young professionals, IEEE student volunteers and biomedical engineers across Kerala. This campaign gives an insight about biomedical equipments which can be understood by laymen. In this campaign, both professionals and volunteers work hand in hand in collecting information on various biomedical equipments. Also, it aims to resolve the common questions arised by the end users. Today, we have Ms. Reshma Pedi with us, who is the mentor for Group 3. She has been the backbone to the group and has been guiding us throughout. She completed her B.Tech in Biomedical Engineering from Dhanlakshmi Srinivasan Engineering College, Trichy, and her M.Tech from Udaya College of Engineering from Nagakul. So I request you to introduce a bit more about you, ma'am.
Okay. As you said, as you given the details, it's almost the same. And after that, I worked. I have got 3 years experience in 1 year for as a biomedical engineer at Savna Hospital. It's in Patambi, near to Palakkad district. And afterwards, I was a guest lecturer in 2 of the colleges in Idiki as well as Irinalakuda near to Mala.
Really happy to know more about you, ma'am. Biomed 360 is a campaign for unleashing biomedical equipments to everyone. So, ma'am, we would like to know your experience and overall view of our campaign.
Okay, this is a very good campaign so that many people who are not aware much about this equipments as well as the biomedical field could know more, even without studying this whole subject or whole course. So I believe it is a very good step you have taken forward to make people understand about certain things. And moreover, there's nurses as well as some technicians who clearly doesn't know about this can take this as a reference material as well. So from your part, it's a very good initiative you have taken.
Okay, ma'am. Ma'am, next we like to know about an overall outline of defibrillator. So, ma'am, can you please brief on it?
Yes, of course. Defibrillator, it's an equipment which is used to stop cardiac arrhythmias if it has happened all of a sudden. Just like cardiac arrhythmia is nothing but any irregularities in the heartbeat of a person. You know, this heartbeat is something like PQRST wave. It is having specific amplitude and it is having a specific time period. It's like 0.12 seconds. It lasts about 0.12 second, right? So in certain conditions, if a person is having some distortions, like he's not having proper breathing capability or some contraction in his heart, it will be like the heartbeat is not at a regular rhythm. It changes and it forms the irregularity in the rhythm. So in order to remove that, the person, I mean, with the support of a specified doctor, they'll be giving this defibrillator in order to solve the problem of fibrillation. Okay, this fibrillation is known as this irregularity in the heartbeat. So in order to remove that, in order to solve the problem, they are giving this fibrillation and this defibrillation. And this defibrillation is nothing but giving a particular amount of shock to our body through these two paddles of a defibrillator. This is defibrillation. Okay. So this heart came when a sudden shock is went to the heart, it will be going to the automatic rhythm again, and it is often given like 2 to 3 times. Suppose the first time it is not okay, they'll go for a second time, and in the third time also, if the person is not okay, they will go for that. And afterwards, it's not like we are giving the shock again and again. It is up to 3 times normally we take it, and after that we will declare if the person is not alive. We'll declare that, or if the person is okay, he will be back to the normal state within the 3 times. And it's given for minor heart attacks as well as like this. And the joule given will be almost 150 to 400. I mean, not 400 and all. They won't take 400 and all. Almost, it's ranges. It's like this, and it's given in joules. And the operation is in such a way that you will the defibrillator, you will store some energy, so you will store some energy and will be in the capacitor, and you will just deliver it as such. So but through the paddles, so it's only taken by the support of a prescribed doctor or the technicians or nurses. Like, by them only it will be taken, and without any assistance no one can go easily and just do some defibrillation and come back. It's not like advisable. Okay, so that's about defibrillate.
It was a very good explanation, ma'am. Ma'am, in your perspective, what all advancements are required for current defibrillators?
um, Actually, the current defibrillator normally they have been given advancement in such a way that it can be either used as a pacemaker as well. You can even build, you can keep it in your body, like what attachable ones. So those are really good, and I believe that capacity of this defibrillator, like chargeable, all these things. Normally, manual defibrillators are more advanced, as well as they are more advantageous than the like automated and all. So I believe some more advancements is required in this stream. Although there are, for the efficiency, they can increase the efficiency to some extent.
All right, ma'am. Defibrillators are very important equipment as it strengthens the chain of survival. Ma'am, can you share your working experience with defibrillator and what are the safety measures of defibrillator?
Okay, okay. That's very interesting question, because once you completed your studies, you people won't be knowing. If you haven't undertaken this implant training, you will be seeing this equipment first at first when you go to this hospital or like a company for the first time. It will be hard for you. So it's my pleasure to share my what experiences with you. So, defibrillator, you should take very good care of that, as well as the equipment, as well as yourself. And you cannot check any equipment on your body. Never think of it. And defibrillator is very well concerned about it. Okay. So, if you want to check a defibrillator, there's a particular criteria whether it's normally okay or not. So you'll be taught about that by your engineers or some subordinates who are your colleagues who are supporting you in this training period. So that is a very foremost thing you need to take into consideration, because without a proper diagnosis, or I mean proper calibration of this equipment regularly, you cannot think that this is really what it's I can say that it's really an emergency equipment. Okay, so you cannot clear the equipment at the time of its requirement. So if the person is prone to heart attacks and he had came to the hospital, so you have to take the defibrillator suddenly. You have to give this defibrillation. So at that time, you cannot check that whether the defibrillator is okay or not. So prior checking or calibration is very well required for this defibrillator. And this lifespan of the battery. Okay, so sometimes this defibrillator will be working good at this current charge direct connections or something, rather than battery. So it's really hard in order to keep maintain that. So you need to check that once in a while. Like, you should calibrate it after 2 months. I mean, sorry, it's like 6 months or 1 year. It will be given in that, or you should check it in a regular basis. So that is the foremost thing you should do in case of defibrillator, and know how to use a defibrillator, and make sure there is no any harm that is occurring to the patient as well as the equipment, because it's very costly, as well as it really makes harm to you as well. If any accidents, like if you keep it in on your body or somewhere, it's like it's really harmful. So make sure you don't do any such mistakes. And other thing is that you never forget to apply the gel once you put the defibrillator, as it's really a huge amount of heat is delivered, and I mean shock is delivered. It is very important to take the precautions whatever it's required before taking the defibrillation to a patient. And make sure you set all the values perfectly without any trouble, or without any what to say, you should be very keen in observing all the things. You should not make any simple careless mistakes while doing all these things. And make sure, keep in mind, you are dealing with a medical equipment, and it is very important to think about it. Okay, so all these things are the criteria you should keep in mind. And you will be provided with particular schema before going to this working of the defibrillator. So you did not worry. Worrying nothing make any fruitful things. So take necessary steps before that, and make sure you know well about the equipments before you are doing something, and calibrate it well and good, so that it will be easy and comfortable likewise. And always take the suggestions of the superior officers or the engineers who are there. Once you feel, no matter it's very simple doubt you're asking, but go for that. Okay, if you have any clarification, don't keep in mind like it's a very blunder, I'll be going to ask some blunder or some stupid doubts. Nothing of that. You can ask any doubt at any time, but make sure you do it before handling that equipments, and don't think about it after handling it, because there is no use in that. So once you have any doubt, just contact the office, engineers near to you, and may clarify your doubt and go for that. Okay, then this each part of the equipments, like paddles and this battery span and this wires. Okay, so make sure all these are in a very good working condition, so that there won't be any difficulties during the work. And yeah, that's it. These are the things you need to check on that, and the setting times, or the settings that you should keep in the defibrillator. All these things you can keep in mind. Okay.
Okay, ma'am. Can we know the benefit of campaign, and also we like to know what interested you to be a part of this campaign?
Okay, this campaign is very good initiative, as I have already told. From the side of the students, as well as the main important or very attracting part is that the students are taking part in this, and that too final year students, and yeah, all mostly biomedicals. So that really captivated my mind. That is the foremost thing. And other thing is that when my it was actually suggested by one of my friend. She was my colleague. So that also, when she asked me, I was like, okay, I'll be able to do that. I don't know whether it's to which extent you're going, and what is the motto, and all those things. So afterwards I came to other friend who is really a coordinator of this program. So when I talked to her, I felt that yeah, it's a really good plan. But unfortunately, I couldn't take much part in this program. Whenever it's required, I think you people can understand, like I couldn't give much support because I was having some other personal things. So I could do this whenever I get time. I try to involve in this. So I feel it's very interesting, and this is I haven't seen such an idea in this YouTube, and it will be helpful for many people. So that is the foremost thing, as an human being as well as an engineer, we should do to this society, right? So it was my pleasure to take part in. That's it.
All right, ma'am. Ma'am, can you brief on existing types of defibrillators?
Yeah, existing types as well as there are mainly of four types. Four in case like manually external, and AEDs there are also two types. So as I said, some pacemakers are also, some defibrillators also does the work of a pacemaker. That is AED and automated external defibrillator. That is AED, okay. And external defibrillators, it's like manual defibrillators are there, and internal defibrillators are also there. Like there'll be some persons who cannot generate their own pulses, so they need a support of an external device in order to give the impulse. So as a part of that, through the help of a practitioner, we will be implanting some device on that, on our body, inside of our body, and it will be making some impulse, so that it will be easy for the going. But the demerit of it is that we should renew it after every 5 months, like a duration is there, and it's very costly, like 3 lakh or something, some its amount is something related to 3 to 5 lakhs. So it's very hard for the people to make it. So it will be beneficial, like if few people could bring an advancement in this area, like how to reduce this amount, or if you could increase the lifespan of this defibrillators that you are being implanted in the body. And yeah, manual defibrillator, when you generally go to a hospital, the very common thing you should see is this manual defibrillators, and there are many companies who are providing that, and it's very easy handling. You should keep in mind that compared to all other defibrillators, I believe. And for me also personally, I feel happy to help deal with this manual defibrillators, because other things are a little bit complicated and you need much more knowledge to handle that equipment. So yeah, this manual defibrillator is one among them, and it's like it will be having 2 paddles, and you will be having some battery implanted in it. I mean, inbuilt in it. So you can get the source, like you can keep for charging for a particular time period, and you can use it afterwards. And normally the people does is that they won't keep this defibrillator for charging. So that is the biggest mistake they are doing. You should charge the defibrillator even though you are not using it. We all know that defibrillator is something we cannot use very regularly. Like it's not like ECG machine or some ventilators. If there is a patient only, we can use it and we can just calibrate it. That's okay. But we cannot use it very often. So this children might, I mean, these engineers might not charge it very often. So that's the biggest mistake you are doing. You should charge it once in a while. So that will be good for the equipment as well. Like it will not be very bad very soon. So that is one thing. And this manual defibrillator and external defibrillator and implantable automatic is also there. So you can set that. In automatic, it's like you can set the timing as well as there's impulse giving things. And also for the people who implanted it should take very good precautions on that. And you should you should observe very well, and you cannot take many big works, like you cannot lift something very heavy. Like many precautions are they should take such things, because it's very required for their good health of the body. So yeah, that are the 3 types. If I could say briefly, these are the 3 ones. 3 like external defibrillators again divided into 2 types, I believe. So according to the waveforms. So yeah, these are the types. Mainly it's of 3 types.
Okay, ma'am. Can you please mention some of the common calibration methods in defibrillator?
Yeah, I'll say one calibration method in detail, so that it will be useful for you in your coming days. It's like you'll be given a defibrillator. Okay, so this defibrillator, it just keep for charging. It requires charge, so this battery will be charged at a particular time period. And after this charging, you are supposed to check it. Okay, you are supposed to calibrate it or troubleshoot it. We'll say it's as troubleshooting the equipment. So you're supposed to do it every day regularly, because we cannot say when the emergency will arise. So you are supposed to do it on a regular basis. So like the step is like this. You will be having 2 paddles on the either side of the defibrillator. So keep it in its position of the paddles, and never put the paddles as such or somewhere throw it away. It's not like that. You should properly connect it and place the things wherever the position it is required, and you will be specifically given the positions for the paddles and all those things. Okay, so keep the positions in its paddles position head, and afterwards you are supposed to go for the settings. Just take the settings paddles and select for this paddles range. You should go for the settings and go for paddles, and afterwards you have to check for this what this settings will be having like joules, how many amounts of energy you should deliver. So you can just for calibration purpose just go for, first of all you can go for 200 joules, and you can go for a charge button will be the next to that in some other color, like if it's all the buttons are in blue, it will be in like one orange button or something like that. So it will be in different color, and all the requirements will be written on this on the button head, or on the button it will be written on that. It's like charging, you'll be having this button. So look at the specifications and charge the button. So once you charge the button, you will be having this like 200 amounts of joules will be charged on this defibrillator paddles. So at if you are ready for this discharging, catch the both, hold the both paddles paddles with your two hands simultaneously and press the button on that. You'll be having two button heads on this paddles, so press the buttons at the same time. You should not, it should be pressed at the same time so that the energy will be released. And make sure you check the energy, that how much energy of joules it's released, and calculate it as whether it's near to that energy joule we have stored in it, like we have charged in it. If you are giving 200 joules, you'll be almost having 180 joules or 199 joules or 197 approximately to this range. If you're having this, if the shown energy is like 150 or 140 or 110, then you are supposed to calibrate this defibrillator, because it requires calibration, because the amount of energy released is not equivalent to the amount of energy that is we have given. So so this is how you calibrate an equipment of defibrillator through manual basis, and this is a manual defibrillator method also. And you should supposed to check it with other forms, like other amount of energy like 300 joules as well as 400 joules likewise. The main idea behind it is that you'll be having some noise or artifacts for that. That's, of course, it's a sure thing. So that's the reason why I'm checking for. You'll be asking the question, ma'am, we had given 200 joules and why it's like 198 joules likewise. So a little amount of energy is negligible, so you do not worry about that. And if this this process is okay, you can go for the next process, like you can go for 300 joules, the same procedure you should follow, and afterwards like 400 joules also as well. So yeah, this is a procedure you should do before checking of a defibrillator. I hope this is clear for you. Any
Yes,
doubts
ma'am.
you can ask me.
It was really informative.
Okay.
Ma'am, from your experience, can you share which of your, whether teaching or working in a hospital is more favorable for you?
Okay, so that's really a tough question for me, because both goes hand in hand. As a biomedical engineer, I'm really proud that I could help people just like this doctors and nurses are serving the society. We could also serve it, because it's very important to keep the machineries into a proper conditions. Then only we can use it whenever it is crucial. So it's very important, like how this biomedical engineers takes place, the role of biomedical engineers in a hospital. It's very important, just like this doctors as well as nurses. It's very crucial, like it's very critical just like them. So and in case of teaching, I feel blessed to be a teacher, because I could teach, or I could apart from this being a teacher, it's like you can share your ideas as well as your knowledge to the other people. So that is really a blessing, I feel. And fortunately I got the chance twice, and I believe I can be both in the upcoming years. And it is all depend upon the fortunate that is being showered on you. So I feel I cannot choose one among them, because both are really precious for me. As well as my concern, as far as my concern, it's according to me, it's very good opportunity to work as both. And the only advice I can give you is that never work for money, work for your satisfaction, because that is the thing you will finally end up with. And if you could not find any satisfaction with your job, then you are not successful, I believe. Because taking your work as a duty is quite hard, but do your work with an enjoyable mind or with joy, it will be more easy and comfortable. So I could felt the satisfaction in both the cases, and it's all thanks to God and my in charge, who was at the Savannah Hospital, Rashid sir. I still believe he is the only reason I could perform well in this 1 year of my experience. So in this occasion, I really wish to give thanks to him, and I always remember him in my prayers as well. Yeah. Then this as a faculty, yes, I could get. Yeah, this money is one matter. That's another thing. Just leave it aside. But I experienced the love of many students of my colleges which I have taught, especially in Painava Idiki. I still remember all my students, and yeah, hundreds of love for them, as well as they had given me return as well. And also in Mala, that was my second experience. I really remember all my students, and I feel really blessed to have these students as my yeah. Uh, they are not really my students, like they are moreover my children, or like, yeah, I really friends or something like that I can call them, because they really shared the joy, and that wavelength was almost similar, so that I can teach them easily, and they really gave me the result as well. So yeah, that's really a very good experience I had.
For your answer. Now I request all the participants, if you have any doubts, you can ask now or you can put it in the chat box.
Good morning, ma'am.
Okay.
Ma'am, can you please say the main difference between a pacemaker and a defibrillator? Or can we have both on a human body?
Yeah, but there are certain cases like you will be keeping both on that, because a defibrillator is nothing but you'll be giving sudden shock, like a huge amount of joule. Okay, so for a pacemaker, it's not required like that. And cardiac defibrillation only will be like cardiac fibrillation only will be providing with a defibrillator. And for pacemaker, from its name itself, like we can understand, for if the SA node is having some complaints, or if it could not produce any impulses in a proper way, we will be going for a pacemaker. So there are certain patients who cannot keep this impulse in a proper way, and this SA node is having some damages. So for them, we'll be keeping this pacemaker. So like in addition to that, there are person who needs both requirements. So for them, we'll be keeping AEDs, so automatic external defibrillators, and it will be placed into your body, so that whenever it is required, we'll be setting all the things in that defibrillator, and it acts as both pacemaker and defibrillator. Okay. And it is not necessary that there are persons who require defibrillator must keep this pacemaker, nothing like that. Sometimes it will be like they'll be having sudden, as a part of sudden shock, they'll be having some fibrillation in their heart. So for them, it's just defibrillator is much more than enough. And pacemaker, we cannot say that all the patients who are taking pacemaker needs defibrillator, nothing like that. If it's a pacemaker, if the person is having some complaints, or if the SA node could not produce enough impulses required for a rhythmic contraction and relaxation of the heart, they will go for this a pacemaker only, no need of defibrillator. Okay. Only, and defibrillator is like it's like some more importance, like it's very, whenever it's very required, only we will go for defibrillator, nothing like that. Okay. So it's for some patients, it's like we'll go for defibrillator as well as fibrillators.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Hello, ma'am.
Okay. Carry on.
Hello. Okay. Actually, in case of defibrillators, does the amount of current that we're giving will it remain constant or it will vary from person to person, like an elderly or a pregnant woman or something like that?
Yeah. You can find it like according to the requirement of a person only we will be giving the fibrillation, how much fibrillation, how many amount of joules is required. It will be calculated by the practitioner. After that only, according to the intensity of that defibrillation, I mean fibrillation that is occurred to this person, we will be giving the defibrillation. So it's not like as a biomedical engineer I can go and give the defibrillator, I can work on defibrillator. It's nothing like that. Only a well-known practitioner will be given. I mean, they'll be having some degrees in this. Like a very good doctor only can prescribe this defibrillation, or he only does this to a patient. Not even the nurses could do that, or not even the biomedical engineers can do that. They can check the defibrillator is okay to one side, but they can't apply it on a person. I mean, a person or a patient. It will be only done by a doctor. Only after his prescription, we will be setting all this energy or the joules required, and after that only will be giving. So it varies from person to person, because it's not like a person who is having cardiac defibrillation. Two person are coming to a doctor and he's saying, yeah sir, I am suffering from fibrillation, and I felt there is a minor attack and this person is not waking up or something like that. Both person will not be given the same amount of heat. It varies. Okay, so according to the condition of the person only, we can calculate how much amount of energy will be released to the person.
So thank you, ma'am. We are very glad to hear all these from you, and I would like to extend my sincere gratitude and happiness for sharing your such a valuable information and your experiences.
Thank you for giving me the opportunity to take part in, and I thank all the students on the behalf of this opportunity who had given for me, and you for choosing me as well, and also like cooperating with me. So that was really a great experience for me.
Thank you, ma'am.